Whoa, it's the CU Podcast.
Hi. Welcome to the completely unnecessary podcast number 166 for Thursday, June 27th. It's summer, Ian, 2019.
It is.
Alongside Ian Ferguson.
It's warm. I can already feel the heat.
I'm Pat Contra. You can feel the heat.
Yes.
We passed that longest day of the year already. Now it's all downhill from here. We'll be discussing on the podcast today the major video game companies coming out against the tariffs, the C64 full-size keyboard console system thingamajobber coming later this year, Mario Royale being DMCA'd and then being DMCA'd again, I guess.
Yep, as of like this morning.
The Eon N64 HDMI adapter, and some other stuff, a Patreon poll, maybe a Tales from the Game Store. Ian, did you miss me while I was gone?
No. It wasn't that long. I mean, it was fine.
It was 7 days I was gone.
Yeah. I mean, you had a good time.
We'll get into that. Do you want to talk about Bloodstained real quick?
Yeah, I mean, I'll bring it up.
It's finally out, right?
Yeah, it finally came out.
Talked about it on the podcast like 8 years ago.
I picked it up for the PlayStation 4, and so far it's actually been very good. I enjoy it. It plays much like any other Castlevania that's been, released since Symphony of the Night.
The free-flowing ones.
Yeah, so
RPG elements.
Right.
So
it's got the same composer, the same guy who was behind the original Castlevania. Igarashi was designing it. Composer was Michiru Yamane. It's fun. It nails the tone. The gameplay feels right, and I'm happy that I bought it before I found out that Way Forward was involved. Because I've always had a weird past with Way Forward games, and people were asking on Twitter what my beef with Way Forward was, and it's not like I have I'm out for blood. I just I was told, I was hyped up for Risky's Revenge, and it was awful. I didn't like it at all. I didn't like the Adventure Time game, and I did not like the DuckTales remaster. So I've always been kind of leery of them since. But they did a good job, and the game seems relatively large. I've only explored maybe 15% of it. And yeah, I'm just happy it came out, and it seems like fans of the Castlevania type genre and people who were hoping for it to be a really great spiritual successor, it looks like it's worked out so far.
So the Kickstarter was 4 years ago this month. Holy
Yep.
crap. We did talk about that back then.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they ran into trouble, I think 2 years ago or something. Yeah, about 2 years ago, they ran into some trouble, and they had to bring in, a large chunk of a new team, and that's where Way Forward came in.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's where Way
Forward. We
Forward
probably discussed
came
that
in.
as well. They had a reverse course at some point.
Yep.
So wow, so this has been in development for a long time.
Yeah.
But glad that it came out. It's also on. Is it on the Switch as well?
It's on Switch, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and on you can get it on Steam.
Psst. Get it on Steam.
Yeah.
Is it on Steam? I just saw it's like $35 or so, $40, something like that, on there. Well, that's good, Ian. You enjoy that? I haven't played a lot of those style Castlevania games. They seem enjoyable.
Yeah, kind
Kind of mindless, just hitting everything, trying to level up, get some cool objects and treasures and stuff.
I'd tell you to play them, but you won't.
I don't know why we got to start this way on the podcast. I'm back. I'm exhausted still. That's good. So, quick water heater update before I went to 2 minute games.
Oh boy.
So it's not as. It was where we were before. I was going to be screwed at a paying this amount of money, and people were like, "Well, Pat, they got to replace the parts because they got to be warranted for." I get if you want to replace everything around them, don't upcharge me literally 400 to 500% of the parts that I could buy myself at Home Depot. Just don't do that then. I would have less of a problem. These parts should have cost $150, not $450. And it probably was only $100. Anyway, so it was installed. It was the same guy who BS'd me before. And the whole time, I feel like I'm held hostage. Install my hot water heater. Get the hell out of my life. But of course, in 3/4 way through, he asked to use my bathroom. And my instinct told me that, I should have said, no, but I'm a human being. Yes, you can't deprive someone of a bathroom.
No.
Plus, you don't want him going inside of my house.
Yeah, I mean,
or my
you would
front
have
lawn.
just peed on your floor.
So, but it's that nightmare of, a larger plumber using a bathroom. It's been a trope forever. And then, so he doesn't take his shoes off like some plumbers usually do when they go in your house. I'm like, okay, this is going to be good. So he's in the bathroom. So at the same time, I'm like going to tinkle in my bathroom. It's like, let's time this out. Since I'm taking
Tinkle?
yeah. Since I'm taking a tinkle, in theory, about 25 seconds or so, rough tinkle average. Hopefully, he's just taking a tinkle in the other bathroom. Please, God, he's just taking a tinkle. And so I take the average tinkle time. I give it a couple of snaps to make sure there's nothing else there. Snaps. I wash my hands like you're supposed to do. Water
Snaps?
first, or flicks to make sure there's no water coming out. I don't know. So I do water, soap, and then water again, like a non-barbarian. Wash my hands, and then I come out and I go, oh no, I don't even hear the sink being used yet. Oh no, this isn't a number one from the plumber. It's not at all. So then a couple more minutes pass, and I'm like, oh no. So he finally gets out, and then he goes back to work. And the first thing I'm thinking of, please do not be destroyed, my toilet. Please. Then I'd hear that the fan, commonly known as the fart fan, to get the smell out, that wasn't turned on. I could hear that it wasn't on, but so I have to go in there. So I walk in the bathroom, and then I look at the toilet. Of course, the seat's still up. I don't see any horrible damage to begin with. That's good in the toilet. But then it hits me. Now, I have to say this. Out of my five senses, my sense of smell is strongly the worst of my five senses. I mean strongly. I do not smell things easily. I don't breathe that heavy to pick it up. So it wasn't the smell that came out of that bathroom. It wasn't like the sewer really foul stench that you would think this would be the horrible smell. It was worse. It was an unholy musk, I should say. Unholy musk that sort of like wafted around me and then into my nostrils and mouth. And it was not a smell I had experienced probably before in my life. And so I quickly as possible put on the fart fan, opened up the window to get some fresh air in there. That musk stuck to my nostril hairs for a good 10 to 15 minutes afterwards. And I'm not even joking. I could not get the smell out of my nose. What I smelled. It was demonic. I'd rather have been something just foul and quick and get it over with. No, it was unholy. That smell. I almost felt like I had to like burn a match and then stick it up my nose to get that smell out. So that was great. That was fine. That was great.
Yipes.
I went and got the Febreze like Rambo and double fisted them inside the bathroom.
Double guns.
Double
guns.
Double gun the Febreze. I mean, on top of everything else, I thought that would have been fine. Like getting screwed out of that money if that didn't happen. That was just like insult to injury.
Yeah.
There. On top of that, put on the fucking fart fan. Open the window if you know it's bad. He knew it was bad. He had to have known that was bad. He had to have. It was one of those it was probably like a sandwich he'd eaten a week and a half before.
Oh, Christ on a cross.
That finally forced its way through his intestine. That's what it came across as to me. Anyway, Ian, I went to too many games.
I went to the zoo. A lot.
A lot while I was gone?
I've been to the zoo at least once a week for the past 4 weeks.
That's good, Ian.
I think the second week I went twice.
Too many games was fun.
That's a zoo of a different sort.
It is a zoo. Thanks for everyone that came out. I sold almost all of a certain NES guidebook that I brought out there. I guess the topic du jour there was you have now all the buyers that are knee deep into the WATA graded games through Heritage, and someone that I've emailed with back and forth.
So is VGA dead?
VGA's no, yeah, they're pretty much done. They tried to go to too many games. Remember last year to compete with WATA.
Yeah.
They're done because WATA has to deal with Heritage, and I think maybe CyberLink Auction is that the other one. I forget. So anyway, so you have buyers now coming and these are ex-coin and comics guys. We spoke about that before. They are now buying just about every sealed NES game, and even Super Nintendo game that they can find. Every one. I saw someone with a Top Secret Episode sealed one. I was like, oh, I have that. It's not worth a huge amount. Shouldn't be. And then they're also buying every complete in box, like higher end game, like games that cost hundreds and hundreds, several $100s at least. But then they're also buying every black box, sticker sealed black box game or first edition of them, even if they're opened. So their gambit is that the first edition of even something like Duck Hunt and Gyromite will be worth thousands of dollars in the future because it's the first edition of it, not one of the re-releases. So they're going and they're paying a lot for these games, more than I almost want to share because it's insane how much they're paying potentially for some of these games. Like I could have multiple of a sticker sealed Duck Hunt open, or a Gyromite, and they're paying a lot through this. And now those games aren't like, they're not super common. You can,
Right.
but they're not extremely rare either. So to me, it's always like you have to think in perspective about what these games actually are. Plus, if people are going to want them 20 years from now for the amount that you think they're going to be worth. But that's where we're at with them. And I had some constructive conversations / arguments with some, like, kind arguments, not like yelling at each other. It's like, I disagree.
Sure.
I just disagree. It's not comic books. It's not. But that was the big thing I took away from Too Many Games. It'd be interesting to see how that expands by the time I get to Portland. If it's going to be a thing, then you crack your
Right.
knuckles for that experience. But yeah, they were buying a lot. People were spending a lot of money. I say like 5 to 7 people were spending, like a handful were spending a lot of money on that sort of stuff. And of
Crazy.
course, the seller's like, yeah, sure, buy it.
Yeah. Go ahead.
And then I might have visited a local friend to shoot a couple of videos as well. We'll just say while I was there. So yeah, it was good. I got my Friendly's ice cream while I was there. That's always fun. And of course, someone gave me a box of Devil Dogs. Thank you for Drake's. And then I forgot that he had gave me one, so then I bought another box of Devil Dogs. So I'll give you maybe a Devil Dog or two.
Woo.
And then coffee cakes.
Yeah.
And then, even though you can find them somewhere, I had to get a box of Tasty Cake Crimpets. You have to.
Sure.
Butterscotch Crimpets.
I mean, they're easier to find
You
than-
can find them here, right? Somewhere, but yeah,
Yeah.
you had to do that.
You can find them a couple places.
Yeah. So I got that out of the way, and then I went to the Seaside Heights Boardwalk on Monday with my sister and her husband. I did not do as well as Frog Bog this year, but I did it well. I put a video up on Twitter of the crane game.
Yeah, that
being
looked fair.
Totally rigged, and I'm telling you, it was semi. It might have been semi-rigged 20 years ago, but I would have won something with that same awesome technique I have. I'm a pretty good crane game person. So that was kind of disappointing that they're not even pretending that those are even semi-fair. Because in the past, there were machines, you can tell by the style machine, that have a stronger grip than ones that were weaker.
Sure.
Remember like the automated like tabletop versions where you hit one button and go up then across?
Yeah.
Those were always a little tougher. But you could still win a prize with any of those machines.
Right.
You could. This, they're not even pretending anymore that you can win a prize.
Yeah.
You saw that. The Goomba got picked up like 3 times.
Oh, yeah.
And then as soon as it got to the top, bam, gone. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. So the most important thing that happened, though, while I was home, is I rescued my buddy, Marky Stevens. I rescued good old Marky Stevens. There he is. There's a little beauty mark from a pen or something on his cheek, like a scar. Got into a fight with his homemade salmon-colored overalls that my great aunt Betty made, and the cute little tie, and the plaid weird shirt. It works for him, though. I think he pulls it off right.
It's a good tie.
So has his original socks there. He's my buddy. Couldn't find the birth
Certificate.
the actual one with like
the
the seal on it.
adoption, yeah.
I have the adoption papers. I don't have the one you put on the wall. So Marky Stevens, thank you, buddy. I missed you. Give Daddy a kiss. Thank you. So we're gonna put you back here. Right there. And anyway, so yeah, so that was my week away, Ian. You enjoyed me not bothering you, harassing you to call me back when you don't call me back for like 2 days.
I'll call you back within 2 days now.
It improved from 3 days. Yeah. Real quick, we'd be remiss not to at least mention the passing of Etika Desmond Amofa. He was a big YouTuber. I didn't know much about his career, but it seemed like everyone loved the guy, and he unfortunately committed suicide in New York. Obviously, social media brings a spotlight onto people and their problems. In this case, is probably the time I've seen it happen the most for people on YouTube or social media, where you saw someone's problems on screen, for better or for worse, likely for worse. Literally unfold with problems with the police being called to make sure he was okay. And then I guess there was a downward spiral, unfortunately. So obviously, if you're experiencing problems, there's always someone that you can speak to. You can go to suicide prevention lifeline.org. There's also the hotline you can call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's free, confidential support for people in distress. It's 1-800-273-8255 there. There's always someone there you can talk to. So